Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, today I want to have a discussion about a couple terms or statements that I hear repeatedly. Now, I'm going to use knives as an example here because you guys like knives, at least most of you. If you clicked on the video, you probably like knives. In fact, you probably know what both these knives are. I don't have to tell you. But they're just representations for this video. Okay, this goes way beyond knives. This goes for any product out there, period. Whether you're talking about your couch, your car, your house, a knife, a gun, your shoes, whatever. All right, these are just general statements that are made about products. Two statements that are repeatedly made constantly. Okay, now in the knife community, they're of course directed towards knives, but this goes for anything, literally any product out there. Now, statement number one, that is overpriced. You hear it constantly, especially in the knife community. Some people think this knife is overpriced. You know, we have a cheap knife here, okay? And again, just a representation. Doesn't really matter what they are, how much they are. This is cheap, that's expensive. You can get a bunch of these before you can get one of these. Why would you? Why would you? You know, they're both similar. They both fold, they both lock, they both have similar blade styles, they both cut stuff. Okay? This will cut your mail open. This will cut your package open. This will cut a rope. They'll cut some tape. They'll cut a rug. Not like I can cut a rug, but you have to catch me at a wedding for that. Knife on top also cuts. So why would you get this one? Why would you pay so much more for that? Well, because if you have a passion and or an understanding for what goes into these products, you will understand why this one costs so much more. They both cut stuff, but this one cuts stuff better. It's sharper. It stays sharper longer. It has a better lock. It's more comfortable. You know, all these different things attribute to why you would want something of this caliber. This is a higher quality item than this. They both serve the same purpose, but this is better. This is your Big Mac from McDonald's. All right, this is your, burger from a nice restaurant. They're both going to taste good. They're both going to, fill your stomach. But many people would prefer this over this. It's just quality. But when you don't understand something fully, or more so when you don't have experience with a higher quality item, it's hard for you to justify the prices. Again, this goes for anything. Knives. More times than not, the people who say that these expensive knives are overpriced are the people who can't handle them. The people who don't have the experience with them, that don't truly understand it. But I do think it's an opinion. And first of all, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want. Always. You can think something's overpriced. That's not wrong. Opinions aren't really wrong. But I want everyone who's watching this to understand that unless you have a passion and an understanding for something, it's not overpriced. It's just something that you personally don't prefer. If this was overpriced, they wouldn't sell anymore. It's really that simple. It's supply and demand. There's thousands of people who are buying these knives left and right. Forking over $400-$500 for these knives. A piece, all day long. Lots of people would never do that. But that's because either one, they don't have a passion for it, or number two, they don't quite understand it because they don't have an experience with it. If you give a knife like this to someone who's used to $20 knives, they're going to go, holy crap, that's why that's so expensive. Now I get it. Now I understand. You have to experience it. It's just like a sports car. We've all seen pictures of $150,000, $200,000 cars. How many, can really say that they've driven them around and they understand why they're so expensive? What about art? You can hang a picture on your wall. You can go to a dollar store. You can get a painting for $1. It's a picture, it's not a painting, you know what I mean? Or you can hang $1 million piece of artwork on your wall. It's just something you're looking at. I don't have a passion for art, so I would never spend more than $20 on a painting. But some guy out there right now, maybe watching the video right now, and you got like a $10,000 beautiful piece of artwork from a famous artist hanging on your wall, and you look past that thing, and every time you walk up and down your hallway, you look at it, and you're in awe because that's your thing. You understand it. You understand its supply and demand, the rarity. Rare art is expensive because there's not much of it. It's a specific type of art that a lot of people want and very few can have. Hence, the price goes up. This is not exactly the same thing because art, it's just the value is set upon different principles. In this case, what attributes to the price here is the time that goes into it, the materials themselves. It's not like the $10,000 painting has expensive paint on it as opposed to the dollar store picture. You know what I mean? Ink is ink, paint is paint. That has a different type of value. But I'm using it as an example. That is overpriced is an opinion. but it should be an opinion made by people who have experience. Now, I have experienced this myself where someone might have said, hey, that expensive knife, I wasn't impressed with it. It's not very good. Now, my first opinion in my mind, the first thing that comes to mind is, this guy never owned one of these. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But I have been wrong. Sometimes people have, of course, handled some of the more expensive knives out there, and it's just their opinion that it's not as good as something else in the same price category. Generally speaking, if you're going to say something's overpriced, it's because you feel that something compares very closely to it for a lot less money, hence making that particular one overpriced. But there's always going to be a market for certain things. You know what I mean? Like the real thick, big, heavy $800, $1,000 folders. There's thousands of people out there that are just dying to get these things left and right. It may not, particularly float your boat, but it doesn't mean it's overpriced. It just means it's not something you're interested in. There's a definitive difference, and that's what I wanted to kind of clarify, at least in my opinion. I don't say things are overpriced unless it's just vastly obvious. For example, if you have a knife that, costs $100 and you can get dozens and dozens and dozens of different knives just like it for $20, then that's definitively overpriced. But for the most part, when people say things, hey, that's overpriced, this is overpriced, more times than not always, but more times than not, they just don't understand fully. So when you see that comment, don't jump down their throat. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to agree either, but understand that they may not know everything there is to know about that product. So they're making an assumption, which we all do. We're all guilty of that, by the way. But the other term I want to talk about, and this one I think is more important for this video, is I cannot afford that. If I make a video right now just comparing these two knives, people, oh, this is great. Yeah, I own this knife. It's awesome. Yeah, I can't afford that one. Just can't afford it. And I'm going to say that you can afford it. You absolutely can afford it. Instead of saying you can't afford this knife, what you really should be saying is, I don't want it bad enough. Because that's all it comes down to. And a lot of people are going to disagree and be like, hey, that's not cool. I don't make a lot of money and I got a lot of bills and stuff. I got a lot of bills too. The reason I'm showing you, some cool stuff is because I make sacrifices. I trade all kinds of stuff that I love in order to get new things. I can't necessarily afford expensive knives, but if I want one, I find a way to get one. Because it's prioritizing. It's something that I want. It's something that I do. I run this channel. I review stuff. Occasionally people want to see expensive things. I find ways to get them. It's not because I have extra money lying around and I'm buying them. I'm sacrificing, because I want to. No one makes me, by the way. It's something that I enjoy. Let me put it this way. Pretty much everyone watching this video, if you're on a tablet or your computer or whatever, you probably have one of these. Or if you don't have one of these in your wallet, you can probably get one of these. This is $10, okay? If you're not in America, this is 10 US dollars, right? $10. Pretty much everyone can find $10. Well, if all you have on you is $10, you can't afford either one of these knives. This is a $20 knife, right? In and around. I'm averaging for the point of the video. Let's say it's $20. Well, you can't afford this knife. But if you really want it, you'll sacrifice. You'll take this $10, put it in a drawer, or keep it in your wallet, wait until you get paid again, and then you take another $10. Now guess what? All of a sudden you can afford it. Why? It's not like you're making more money. All you did was save. People tend to forget that they can save money. Why? Because it's so rare these days. Very few of you, including me, find it easy to save money. Whenever you get a little extra money, stuff happens. Other bills pop up. Or let's say a bill doesn't pop up. If you get extra money, somehow you find a way to spend extra money. The guy making $20,000 a year who's struggling every single year, every day is a struggle. You're living from paycheck to paycheck. You can use extra money, but somehow you find a way. You pay all your bills, right? You got $20,000 a year, you get $20,000 worth of bills, sometimes more. The guy who's making $100,000 a year, he's living a different lifestyle. He's got $100,000 a year worth of bills, bigger house, nicer car, better food, who knows? But it's all relevant. Most people watching this video don't save money. It's a shame. I wish we all could, but talk is cheap, Things happen in life. You get constant surprises. It's constant up and down financially. So, sometimes you got a little extra money in your pocket. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you owe a little money. It's just life. Life happens, right? But it's all about sacrifice. Do you wait and save this to get another one in order to buy this? Or do you say, screw it, I'll just get a $10 knife because I want a knife, If you save this 1 month, right? Then 2 months, then 3 months, then 4 months. Then all of a sudden, 5 months later, you got one of these. Then all of a sudden, you can get 2 of these if you want. Or you make that conscious decision to keep saving. And the months keep passing and passing, and then all of a sudden, you got $100. Wow, never thought I'd have $100 extra. But you sacrificed. You didn't buy other junk. You started saving your money. And if you keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that, all of a sudden you can afford this knife that you couldn't afford before. So don't say you can't afford something. Just say you choose not to save for it, because everyone can save for it. It's a matter of how bad do you want it and how patient are you going to be. You know, I'd love to get like a $40,000 truck so I can drive around in the winter and not have to worry about it. But I can't afford it. And by afford, I just mean I'm not patient enough to save. You know, it's not practical for me to save all my money until I can afford it. And it'll take a couple of years, you know? So expensive knives may not be practical for your situation, but it doesn't mean you can't afford it. Don't sell yourself short. A lot of people, you know, they'll say when they see something expensive, not just in my videos, any video, you see a nice car, you're like, man, I can't afford that. Wish I can afford that. If you want it bad enough, you could save up and get it. It's just, you're gonna wait 20 years to get a sports car. You know, it just may not be practical in your situation. But don't be jealous. Don't be upset you can't afford stuff. It doesn't matter. You can't keep up with the Joneses, right? If you got this knife, trust me, someone out there is watching a video on this knife thinking, man, I wish I can afford that $20 knife, because they got it pretty rough and they don't have $20 for a knife. They can't afford this knife. Whereas you're complaining you can't afford this knife. And then the guy's got 2 or 3 of these. Oh man, I can't afford that $2,000 custom. You know, it never ends. As much crap as you accumulate in life, someone else has more crap and better crap. And the other guy on the other side of you has no crap. So number one, don't get jealous when you see cool stuff, okay? Because someone else has cooler stuff and someone else has none of it. And don't get frustrated that you can't afford something. If you want something bad enough, you save for it. And I'm going to tell you a very quick story. A lot of you guys already know this. But my small Sebenza, I should have grabbed it for the video. My small Chris Reeve Sebenza, it took me 10 years of wanting that knife to finally sacrifice, sell a bunch of my knives, and use almost an entire paycheck of me working very hard time to buy that knife. I did that for me. That was a treat for myself because my grandfather passed away, and I was just really sad, and I really wanted something that was going to kind of cheer me up, and I said, screw it. I'm just going to sell a bunch of my stuff and just get the knife I always wanted. 10 years I wanted that knife, and I just finally got it. You know, and I loved it, and it was a great moment, and I sacrificed for that, but I was still happy with it. So if you're that guy out there that lusts over these expensive knives, just sacrifice for them, or simply don't care about it, because, you know, they're great knives, but they're always going to be there. You can always save money. If you're, you know, a young person watching this, you don't have a job, I know it sucks, you're watching all these expensive, these videos on expensive things, cool, you know, backpacks and gear bags and EDC setups and stuff, and you're like, damn, I have no money, I have no job, I have no way of getting money. You got your whole life ahead of you, you know? This is just stuff. Stuff means nothing. Hobbies, every hobby, I don't care if you're talking about knives, guns, whatever, this is crap to keep us busy until we die. That sounds horrible, but it's very blunt. It's just entertaining us until we die. It's just stuff, things to talk about and look for and get excited about. You know, in case of knives, you know, they're tools, you can use them. It's not just like collecting. But, you know, at the root of it, it means nothing. This is just crap. When you're dead, it means nothing. So don't lust over stuff like this. Don't be jealous of other people who have it, because whatever you have, there's people who have less and there's people who have more, no matter what. So I just want to talk about that today because I got a message. Someone was really bummed and they were talking about stuff like this, like, oh man, I can't afford this expensive knife. I want it so bad. And I said, it's really cool you like knives, but if you really want it, you can afford it. You just have to ask yourself, are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to wait and be patient? Some people can, some people can't. I'm personally not all that patient. When I was younger, I used to actually be a little more patient than I am now. It's supposed to be the reverse. But it's just stuff. And stuff means nothing. Don't feel inadequate because you don't have a $400 knife. Go get yourself a cool $20 knife, and use it and be happy and just appreciate what you have. Pretty simple, But if you really want something like that, and you're like, man, that is badass, I want that, then just sacrifice. Just wait and save. Save your money. But really, make sure that it's important to you. It's important to prioritize. If you got bills and you got responsibilities and stuff, it just doesn't make sense to go out and buy $400 or $500 knives, Maybe in that case, if you got to, put food on the table for your kids, stick with a $20 knife, Make sure if you're spending big bucks on your hobbies, no matter what they are, that it makes sense for your lifestyle. You know, don't go above and beyond your means. You know, there's plenty of stuff that I want. There'll always be stuff that I want, you know, but now, you know, I have responsibilities. I'm an adult, I'm married, I got a dog to take care of, you know, I got a house to maintain. There's a lot of cool shit that I want, but can't always have it. You know what though, I'm growing up. I'm cool with that. When I was younger, it was all about, oh, I gotta get this knife, oh, I gotta get that knife. I love knives, I always will love knives, but they're gonna be around way longer than I am. And so, you know, I can wait. I can wait a little bit now. I'm starting to learn that. You know, I could be patient about stuff. And hopefully you get that message in this video, especially if you're younger. You know, it's just stuff. Enjoy your life. When you can afford to get some cool stuff, do so. If you want something extra cool, sacrifice and save for it. So, that's all. Hopefully you guys understand my message here. You know, I love to see the comments and stuff. And you don't have to agree with me, you know. If you just say, look, I think this is overpriced, or I think that's overpriced, and screw you if you don't agree with me. Whatever, you know, the people will never, it's the internet, you're never all going to see eye to eye. But hopefully, you know, some of you guys understand where I'm coming from, and just my overall message here is don't get hung up on things, and, you know, sometimes and I'm very guilty of it, we get overly passionate about our hobbies, and especially when you start learning a lot about knives, and someone else makes an opinion you don't agree with, it's like you see fire. All of a sudden, they're an idiot, they're stupid, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, we're all here, we all like knives, we should all just appreciate each other's company and the fact that we all enjoy this hobby. We don't all agree on everything, and we never will. But that's cool. If you find personally that something doesn't make sense for you, or something's overpriced in your opinion, just don't buy it. Super, super simple, right? Don't get pissed off that the other guy bought it. That doesn't make any damn sense. I don't get it. So... anyway, hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you soon with some more videos. Take it easy, guys.